HoustonR's Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Yokomo RD 1.0, the rookie drift. Step 7, the servo installation. So let's get started. Alright, so you're going to need a servo. I decided to go with the Houston RC HRC 190 servo. I've been running it in my off-road buggies and I absolutely love it. I'm just going to go ahead and use the stock arm that comes in the Yokomo kit. I don't think an aluminum one will be necessary, but we'll see how this lasts. So we're going to need this bag 5. Also, we're going to need some parts out of bag 1. So we're going to need the servo mount from bag 1. We're going to need these 2 pieces here and here. These are the servo mounts. So I'm going to go ahead and get those off the parts tree. So I know this is a 25 tooth servo. So we're going to need the F servo here. F servo is going to be the Yokomo Futaba. SK is going to be for Sanwa, KO, or JR, and H is for the high tech. I believe their teeth, the tooth count is different on those, so take note of that. And the kit does not come with the screw that goes into the servo, but luckily the servo comes with one. So we're going to need 2 M3x10 button head cap screws, 2 M3 washers. So let me go ahead and get those. And we'll also need 2 M3x10 flathead screws. So I'll go ahead and get those ready as well. So we're going to install the servo mount with the M3x10 set screw and washer, just like so. So the rounded portion is on this side, flat side is over here, and we're only installing 1 screw on each side, which is going to install on the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this started. Do the other side. All right, next we can go ahead and install the ballstud into the servo, and this ballstud is going to go on this side right here. So when we mount the servo horn onto the servo, the ballstud is going to be on this side facing the servo itself. Now we can center the servo, and we can do this one of 2 ways. One way is to check the mechanical limits of the servo, and you can see that it's off. So that is as close to center as I can get. Another way to center it is to install it onto an existing car. You plug this in, or you can so another way to make sure your steering servo is set up is to have everything hooked hooked up. So I have my ESC plugged into a receiver, I have my servo plugged in to the receiver, battery into the ESC. Alright, so I've bound it up on a new model, and you can see it's close to being center as possible. So it's going to be off because it's got an odd number of teeth, but that is close to center. So I'm going to go ahead and install my servo horn. Not necessary, but I always like to put a little bit of blue Loctite on the screw going into the servo because I don't like worrying about it coming loose. Since it's a drift car, I'm not too concerned, but for off-road buggies that I typically run, that is something that I do worry about. Alright, so now we can install the servo onto the chassis. And the servo is going to install in these two holes, here and here. And then we're going to install the ball cup here on the steering linkage onto the ball stud on the servo. So let's go ahead and do that. So the servo is on. We can attach the servo linkage onto the ball stud. And there we go. It's an odd angle that the servo is installed. I feel like maybe this particular servo needs to be further forward because it doesn't allow for the articulation in this direction. So it looks like we'll have enough steering in this direction here, but maybe not in the opposite direction. So I think with the servo mounted the way it is, this particular servo is too far back. So when it turns in one direction, the linkage is hitting the servo horn. So what I want to do is move it forward just a bit, so that way it has the amount of movement that it needs in both directions. So what I'm going to try is the servo mount itself. This hole is offset, it's not in the center, so I'm going to flip the mount to move this hole forward, which should hopefully push the whole servo forward. So let's see how that works out. Actually, doing that will move the servo further back, and maybe I can move this ball stud to the forward position, and hopefully that will prevent it from binding like it is right now. All right, so this is much better than the way the manual had it, at least for this particular servo. I know different servos have different dimensions here, but with the Houston RC servo that I'm using, I moved the servo further back by flipping the servo mount, and then I installed the ball stud on the front side so that way it does not hit the servo horn when it's getting close to full lock. So, and it looks like this will be able to have more steering in both directions. So I'm going to go ahead and move along with this particular setup, and if for some reason I come across any other issues once we install the front shock tower, springs, front suspension, then we'll try to adjust this or figure out another solution. So, but that's it for step 7, the servo installation. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you had this particular issue, if you built your own, or if you had a solution. I'd love to hear it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.